Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Theo. That's Nick. And as always, this is the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we're going to go over week 1 of the NFL. It's finally here, and now it's gone, and a lot of stuff happened. We have injuries, upsets, some crazy stuff, but we finally got a chance to see what these teams were all about, at least early on. We'll see how it changes from there. Before we get started, though, you can follow us over on Twitter at DraftedUp_pod. And then like, rate, subscribe, review over on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Find us over there, Drafted Up Podcast. Nick, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. So many questions going into week 1, and we got so many answers. We had things go ways that we for sure thought they were going to go, and then things that just went completely opposite, where targets weren't going the way that anyone predicted. NFL, you can't really predict how it's going to really end up going. You can just make your best case. And week 1 was pretty exciting. There was a ton of good games. I was very impressed by the way week 1 ended up going.
I agree. It was a good week of football. Some surprises for sure. And some things that went the way we expected them to go. So we'll dive in. We're going to rapid fire through the games here. We'll call this our no huddle offense. And then we'll dive into a little Thursday night matchup this week, previewing the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. That should be a good one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Do you have our pick'em in front of me? I guess we should talk about that. We did picks, and I don't have it on the computer, but I know you're on the app.
I can get it.
I'm pretty sure I did terrible. I know a lot of the teams I picked lost.
I finished with 10. You finished with 9.
Oh, so not too bad. You beat me by 1. So there you go. Nick's got me 1 up on the drafted up pick'em. So we'll start here. Thursday night, the opener. The Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs overcame the Ravens 27-20. What an end to that game.
Came down to a toe.
Missing a game-winning touchdown or game-tying touchdown by a literal toe.
Just a toe.
Yeah.
That game was great, dude.
Baltimore was going for 2. Baltimore, the offensive line looked
horrendous. Horrendous, dude.
Which really made it rough for Lamar. You know the Ravens' game plan isn't working when Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball 41 times.
Oh, yeah. The game plan was scrapped almost instantly, I would assume. You really seen, like, the split between Derrick Henry and Justice Hill almost right off the bat. Like, the first drive, they really used Derrick Henry. Like, everyone thought, oh, Derrick Henry's going to score 30 touchdowns. How didn't we see this coming?
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it was gone just because they had to keep passing. So, like, the way it looks, Derrick Henry's not going to be on the field when they're passing, and he's not going to be on the field at third down. He's strictly first, second down, only if they're running. If not, Justice Hill's in a bunch.
He'll be in when they're winning too.
Yeah. For sure.
If Baltimore's up, they're going to be running a ton, and that's when Derrick Henry will be in. But yeah, Justice Hill heavily involved, so he's a guy. Keep an eye out on your waiver wires if you're really itching for a running back. He might be a guy to kind of just stash on your bench because he's getting snaps. He played over 50% of them. Lamar did well. Finished as QB5 for the Ravens, and then the surprise for them was Isaiah Likely. We've been talking about it here that we want to see them get him involved. Kansas City did a great job of shutting Mark Andrews down, and it opened up Isaiah Likely. He had a nice big long touchdown pass. He finished a tight end 1 on the week. A lot of short dink and dunks. Thank you.
Got you, my
stuff guy. For Likely, so we'll see how his involvement continues. If he's out there, I would dump a good chunk of fab
like Evan Ingram. The way he was playing is he looked identical to Evan Ingram. Like, he's a super athletic, lengthy tight end. And if they're going to use Likely like that, I'm in regardless because it's a PPR option. And I'm still in on Andrews too. Like, they made sure that if they were going to lose that game, being Kansas City, it wasn't going to be by Mark Andrews. It could be anybody else. It is not going to be Mark Andrews. And that's the way Baltimore had to adjust instantly.
Yeah, and Kansas City did that in the playoffs too. They
Hmm.
chose to shut down Mark Andrews, but
Yeah,
Isaiah Likely was the benefactor there. Isaiah Flowers had a decent amount of work. He had like 6 grabs, but it
6 grabs
didn't
for
even break 40
yeah,
yards. Yeah,
37 yards. It's crazy, dude. Like
yeah.
he's a flex guy. Like the way we talked about him is how Zay Flowers is gonna be this year. Like he's not gonna be a receiver too. This is not gonna
Hmm.
happen.
No, no, and then Baltimore's not going to pass 41 times a week. That's not going to be a regular occurrence there.
Ideally for them, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and from Kansas City side, Patrick Mahomes, he was fine. Didn't blow it away. It was
A little lackluster.
yeah, it was similar to how he was last year. He finished at QB
Exactly. Yeah.
14 this week, but Pacheco looked good. He
Oh
got
yeah,
a
workhorse.
big bulk of the work, like 80% of
Hmm. Big
the
workhorse.
snaps he was in, which was great. That amounted to him finishing in as a RB2. He was
Yeah.
20th overall.
Hmm.
Not spectacular, but still nice game start the year. Rashi Rice and Xavier Worthy, though, they were hitting. Worthy had minimal touches, but they were like designing work for him. He had that nice rushing touchdown, and then he took one to the house on a reception. Yeah. And Rashi Rice was just tearing up the middle of that Ravens defense, just running screenplays, and he got a ton of work. And it looks like if you drafted him, you got him at a great value.
Oh yeah, especially for like full PPR leagues, he was 7. He had 9 targets, 7 receptions, 103 yards. So that's 17 points without a touchdown. You throw a touchdown in there, he's a receiver 1. And touchdowns are going to be spread around. Like these worthy touchdowns aren't going to happen every week, especially 2 of them. Like he only had 3 touches and 2 of them he housed. Like he's a special player.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not going to work out that way. And the touchdowns are going to be spread around. And more so Kelsey's way in the future, I think.
Yeah. Kelsey, pretty average game, but you got that across the board. You'll see that tight ends this week.
Tight ends all around.
Nothing strong. But yeah, Worthy finished as wide receiver 11, Rashi Rice at wide receiver 14. Both looking like great options there in Kansas City.
Sure.
If you took the risk to start Xavier Worthy, it definitely paid off.
So it happened against me. The guy I was playing in our home league had Mahomes and Worthy, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Right off the bat, killing me.
And then we had our Friday game.
Ooh, another good game.
Eagles over Packers, 34-29. Some bad news from that game. Jordan Love got hurt on the final drive. Looks like he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. Packers don't plan on placing him on IR. But they're going to continue to start Malik Willis in his place. And which is a shame because Jaden Reed
was amazing.
Was the wide receiver
amazing
in PPR. He had a touchdown taken away on both teams having 12 men on the field.
Crazy
Just let
call.
It play at that point, still equal.
Very true.
It's no different than 11 on 11. It didn't affect him at all. Like, what wasn't concerning is not like he was the 12th man and had nobody covering him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jaden Reed looked great. They're designing work to him. Like, he's probably the only, like, if I would still consider starting him just because Matt LaFleur is going to design work for him. Like, I think Malik Willis can hit him on a screen.
I don't think so. I think Malik Willis can't hit the side of a barn, dude. Like, I'm so worried about Green Bay starting anyone, even Josh Jacobs. Like, Malik Willis, they tried to do this in Tennessee on the back end of the season, like a year or two ago. I don't even remember when it was. And it was horrendous even for Derrick Henry. Like, it was bad. Like, Malik Willis he's not a football player. Like, and it's a shame that he's ruined this.
With Josh Dobbs to start a playoff game, and Josh Dobbs hadn't played at all that year.
I would much rather, like anyone in replacement over Malik Willis. Him starting for Green Bay, it blows my mind. Like, when he came in for the final play of that game, I'm like, well, this is a wrap. And it was. He got sacked, dude. He didn't get the ball off, dude. Like, he's just not capable. And I think he takes all of these Green Bay players off the board. Like, I'm very hesitant to start any of them.
Yeah, I would still consider starting Reed, just like I said. Like,
if you have to,
manufacture touches for him. He gets carries. He'll get.
He does.
He's got big play breaking ability. The other receivers there.
Watson had a touchdown.
Sans Wicks. Wicks had no points.
He had 3 targets. He just didn't end up reeling any of them in.
No.
And then he had a bunch of catches, but then there were penalties called back. He had 2 or 3 catches called back. But I'm worried about Wicks for sure. Dobbs had a nice game. They targeted him a lot, 7 targets. but he's a
Yep.
touchdown guy too. Like if Dobbs gets a touchdown, he's gonna have a nice game regardless. So
Yeah. Dobbs finished at 48, Christian Watson at 39. Christian Watson only finished at 39 because he had the touchdown. Otherwise, he had like 2 catches for 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tight ends, Luke Musgrave, if you were in a deep league and had to start him, he got you a gooser. 0 points. Tucker Kraft was on the field way more than he was. So that was an interesting little bit because Musgrave, the higher drafted guy of the two, but Tucker Kraft, you and I both like Tucker Kraft a little bit more in the draft process over Luke Musgrave. So we'll see how that continues there for Green Bay.
Yeah, that was something I picked up very early. Like I seen him on the field once and I'm like, okay, Tucker Kraft's on the field. And then like I just kept watching it. Oh, he's on the field again. Musgrave's not even on the field now. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I pointed out to you, I'm like, dude, Tucker Kraft's been on the field so much more than Musgrave's. And it just kept continuing that way. And like you said, we were both higher on Tucker Kraft going into the draft process. So I think Green Bay made the right call if they're going to have him on the field more.
And then there was Josh Jacobs, finished as RB25, 12.4. He had a nice big run, but other than that, he was pretty ineffective. He was real touch and go there.
His first and second half was horrendous, dude. He had like 8 carries for 12 yards or something. Like, and I looked at you and I'm like, dude, Jacobs is Jacobs. This is bad, dude. And then he busted off that big run, and I'm like, okay, but it's still nothing to ride home about. And then Love going down, dude, is heartbreaking, dude. Like I hate injuries to begin with, but when you lose a franchise quarterback on the first game of the year, thank God it's not season ending. But still, dude, 3 to 4 weeks, that's a month, dude. And these are critical games that they're going to be playing.
It wouldn't surprise me if they go out and Malik Willis is just horseshit and they get crushed. Like,
yeah.
Maybe they look towards Ryan Tannehill. He's still out there as a free agent.
I was going to say, I've seen some teams interested in. They have the Colts next week. The Colts looked decent versus Houston. I think that's going to be a really, really tough game. The week after that, they have Tennessee. That could be a little bit easier.
Revenge game.
That is a revenge game for Malik Willis.
Revenge game.
And then they have you guys week 4, division game. Big week. Division games are always huge. And then week 5, they have the Rams. Like these are games that they're going to have to end up pulling through. And Malik Willis, I don't know how that's going to go, dude.
No, that could be 4 straight losses if they don't bring another guy.
Very well could be, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they do bring in Ryan Tannehill, but might be tough for him to come in and learn the offense.
Who is the backup
effective
behind Will?
I believe they brought back Sean Clifford.
Sean Clifford, okay. I knew there was someone competing for the job, and I can almost guarantee that if it's week 3, it's not going to be Malik Willis. Malik Willis will not be this team starting.
Sean Clifford's really bad too.
But they're going to have to try something, like because week 2, it's going to be miserable. Dude, like Malik Willis is bad.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Matt LaFleur's
a good offensive mind.
I know bad quarterbacks, man. I fucking watch one every Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see if Matt LaFleur kind of schemes things for Malik Willis to make it functionable of an offense.
They're gonna run the ball 52 times with Jacobs and
dumbs things down.
Jaden Reed,
Emmanuel Wilson.
Dude, someone's gonna have to tote
He was
this rock.
efficient looking.
He was very efficient.
Wilson. Yeah.
He was way more efficient than Josh Jacobs. That's for damn sure. 4 carries for 46 yards. Like, come on.
Philadelphia had the most efficient running back on the week.
Dog,
RB1, Saquon Barkley, and I know my concerns was him being involved in the passing game and getting the goal line work, and he got all of it.
Yeah.
He got the most touches inside the red zone. He got a ton of targets. He had that jump ball touchdown.
My God, dude, his touchdown was
from
the
Hurts.
ball was perfectly placed, and like him getting the toes in, and I'm like, my God, like this is it.
Track that like a
it's
receiver.
going to happen. Yeah, this is Barkley's it, dude.
Yeah.
I was so happy watching that game. Like I have no ill feelings towards Barkley. Him going out there week 1 and killing it, I'm so happy to watch it.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley has more touchdowns with the Philadelphia Eagles than Daniel Jones has passing touchdowns since signing his contract.
$160 million contract, that is.
Yeah, a little fun fact there. Jalen Hurts was okay.
He was fine.
He threw a couple picks, struggled really reading that defense. He finishes QB 10, slightly above Jordan Love, who finishes quarterback 11. So both were fine. They pretty much they're QB ones this week.
They went for a tush push on the goal line, and the fumble was exchanged between him and the new center. So like they're still doing the tush push, and they're still giving Barkley the ball. So, like, if he would have ended up with another rushing touchdown, he would have been way higher. Like, if that fumble wouldn't have happened. Like, he had 3 turnovers, right? We get a fumble and 2 picks.
Yeah.
So, and he still finished in the he still finished as a QB1, top 12. So, I'm still very confident on Hurts, especially fantasy-wise.
A.J. Brown hit 7.
Dog.
A wide receiver 7 on the week.
Yep.
Huge 70-yard touchdown catch. And Devonta Smith had a nice week as well. He finished as wide receiver 18. Didn't get a touchdown, but was targeted a lot. So, like, it was good to see them really utilizing both those guys, and Dallas Goedert was there. But
no other receiver
really
on the team had a catch, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was just those 2 receivers.
I don't even remember them targeting Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, he had 1 target. Johnny Wilson had a target. Like, they passed to the guys that we all said that's how the Eagles are going to play football. They're going to use their stars, and they're not going to set, like, if Barkley's on the field, he's getting the ball, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then Dallas Goedert sprinkled throughout the game plan. But I loved watching Eagles play. It was only week 1, and they went up against the Packers, who are, in our eyes, Super Bowl contenders. So this was our NFC matchup. It was a great game. Sucked Jordan Love got hurt. I think both teams will finish the end of the season very strong because Jordan Love will be back at that point. But hopefully Green Bay can manage through this Malik Willis time.
Yeah. Next up, Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Pittsburgh won 18-10. A big dud of a game. What is it? Kirk Cousins looked terrible.
He couldn't plant, dude.
No, he
had a couple really bad throws.
Played. He should not have played. I was saying earlier that Penix should have just played this game. And yeah, that's it's not great for a rookie quarterback to go in and play TJ Watt.
Dude, but Watt, that might have been the best defensive game I've ever seen, dude. Like, he could not be stopped. He had a couple bullshit sacks called back on bullshit penalties. Like, it was crazy. Like, TJ Watt, he won this game for Pittsburgh. Him and the kicker, dude. Like, it was crazy. Certainly wasn't bum-ass Justin Field, dude. Like,
who's starting dude. Week 2, baby.
Yeah, because Wilson's still hurt, but I can guarantee you they literally scored 0 touchdowns. It's not going to continue when Wilson's not hurt. Their offense looked horrendous.
Their offense always looks horrendous.
No. Pittsburgh usually has a fine offense. They just need a good quarterback. Kenny Pickett wasn't the answer. Justin Fields is not the answer.
Well, I still think Justin Fields is as good as Russell Wilson for this team. I don't think it's going to make a difference who the quarterback is.
No, I think Wilson can manage an offense better where he can at least get a touchdown.
Yeah.
6 field goals is crazy, dude.
We'll see. That seems like a Chris Boswell thing. I feel that happens at least once a year for that guy. But Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, 155 yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was 16 for 26. He didn't look healthy. They did no play action stuff, but looking at the offense, Bijan Robinson was on the field a ton. Tyler Algier barely touched the field. I think he was under 20% of the snaps.
He was.
Kyle
18.
Pitts played the whole game.
Exactly, which was amazing. Dog.
He got a touchdown, which boosted his game.
A wide open touchdown. Kirk almost missed him completely, dude. Like, he had to frantically wave his arms for Kirk to see him.
Yeah, it was 3 targets for 3 catches, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Not great. No. But Atlanta's offense in general wasn't like...
No.
Like...
Drake London only finished with 3-5. Like, he had 2 catches, 15 yards.
For 15 yards, yeah.
Mooney had a bust game. Yeah.
Yep.
All-around bust game. Even, like, Bijan had a fine game. He finished with 5 catches, so he racked it up PPR-wise. But, like, Kurt looked bad. He needs to finish. Like, he needs to figure out a way to plant his foot to throw a ball. Like, he had a couple literally spike passes. Like, if you can't plant your throwing foot, these passes aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So Atlanta better figure that the fuck out.
Atlanta is definitely worrisome. I in our things, I said they weren't going to make the playoffs, that I was worried how this was going to go. And if they continue to play like this, they might be looking at a top 10 draft pick again.
Yeah, they got to figure something out. But back to the Kyle Pitts thing, he was running routes that you never seen him run under Arthur Smith. He looked like he was actually a legitimate tight end receiver. So I'm happy that Atlanta at least knows how to use him. We just need Kirk Cousins to get out there and be healthy, dude.
Yeah, who do they got this week? Do you know?
I can quick figure that out. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Scrolling through Sleeper. Where the fuck? Oh, they play Monday night. Monday night, Philadelphia. Rough.
Oh my god.
Yes, sir. Have fun.
Oh man. But Pittsburgh now. Offense was not good.
No, offense was horrendous.
Fields 57 rushing yards, 156 passing yards, 17 for 23. So like it wasn't terrible, just no touchdowns. Najee 20 carries for 70 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Warren
he's the
wasn't
running back.
effective.
Jalen Warren had like 2 carries. Like,
2 carries and 2 catches.
That's super concerning. Patterson out-carried him. Like Warren, if this continues, don't even roster him.
He was coming off the hamstring injury, so I imagine 100%. It was an easing in process. But again, you never know with Arthur Smith. He loves Cordell Patterson.
Exactly. Like if him and Patterson are constantly at the same amount of carries, it's not worth it.
Let him go.
Yeah. So keep an eye on Warren's carries. If it continues for 2 or 3 more weeks, you got to let go because Najee's getting all the work running back wise.
George Pickens was effective. He was the only effective offensive guy.
Very happy to see it.
Yeah, he was 6 for 7. He caught 6 of his 7 targets, 85 yards.
He had that horrendous carry, though.
He had 1 carry for minus 10 yards. That was insane. He also had a big play, 40-yard catch. Classic George Pickens. But other than that, like Calvin Austin didn't do anything. Van Jefferson, like the receiving crew was...
They're not good, dude.
Not there. Neither was, Pat Freiermuth, which you brought up that you were worried about a split. Like, yeah, he was 4 for 27, but... Michael Pruitt got 2 targets. Darnell Washington got a target.
Yep. It's 3 tight ends on the field. There's a cluster of tight ends when Arthur Smith is in charge, and it happened here in Pittsburgh. Like George Pickens is the only option I'm really comfortable starting on this offense. Najee, if you have to put him in as a flex, it's a touchdown dependent. Like he's gonna get the carries, he's gonna have 70, 80 yards. But he's not going to get any catches. So if he gets a touchdown on that, you're looking at 12 to 14 points for Najee.
Yeah, so we'll see how it pans out here for Pittsburgh going forward. Next up, a little fun game. Arizona-Buffalo. Buffalo just covered the spread. Just covered it. Arizona's offense looked okay. Like, they scored 28 points, but, like, they didn't blow me away. Like, Kyler Murray only had 162 passing yards. 5 carries for 57, though. He looked healthy. He looked good.
Yeah.
He was moving around.
Great. But passing yards, like, in a whole, like, there wasn't many passing
really down this week.
Even touchdown-wise, like, the touchdowns week 1 was cut in half compared to 2 or 3 years ago. There's only, like, 33 passing touchdowns or even touchdowns, something like that. It's a very weird stat what's going on. Like, it's not a whole passing league. They've turned it into a passing league in the NFL. And the average was, like, 180, 200 yards this year. For week 1, it's very weird week 1, fantasy-wise.
I would just credit that to likely just the first game of the season, just slow start and figuring it out. James Conner was effective, though, 16 carries, 50 yards,
he touchdown. Was the offense for the first half.
3 catches for 33. He looked really good. DJ Dallas had a kick return. Yep, other than that.
Had no work other than that.
Greg Dortch had
PPR
8 targets.
Guy. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
6 catches for 47 yards. Michael Wilson, who I love, 2 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards and a tutty.
He had a couple dropped passes, too.
Then Marvin Harrison.
Bum, bum, bum.
3 targets, 1 catch for 4 yards. Now, I know everyone who listens knows that you were lower on Marvin Harrison than consensus, but I think even you didn't see this was in like a realm of outcome for someone like him.
It's not, but now we know it is a real possibility for him to go out there and just get 1 catch for 4 yards. Like, that's a crazy bad game.
Kyler Murray missed him.
I'm not worried, dude. Like, I'm not,
But he was open. Deep,
he was wide open a couple times.
Game-winning touchdown, and Kyler Murray just didn't see it. So we'll see. I think Marv, he needs to get a little diva in him and be like, "You got to throw me the damn ball, dude."
Yeah,
like,
his dad brought that up. Kyler Murray's going to have to start getting him the ball. Like, Michael Wilson dropped a couple passes. Greg Dortch is a really good 3rd down receiver. Like, he's a really good short down guy.
On, like, the final plays.
But
they threw a deep to Greg Dortch. Ball to this dude.
Like, what are we doing throwing a deep pass to our slot receiver? at least put the deep pass up to Michael Wilson if you're going to throw it up to someone else. Like, he's big body.
Mm-hmm.
But Greg Dortch makes sense. Like, he's going to get the smaller work, but you got to start getting Marv involved, dude. Like, come on, dude. Like, one catch for 4 yards is unacceptable. Like, that's not doable, Kyler.
Yep. And then Trey McBride, he kind of garbage timed his way into some points. He had 9 targets, 5 catches for only 30 yards.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a disappointment there. And then from Buffalo, Josh Allen, quarterback 1, dude's machine, 232 yards passing, which I'm pretty sure led the league, 2 touchdowns. And then he had 9 carries for 39 yards and another 2 touchdowns. A 4-tutty game for Josh Allen. Superstar. God forbid Buffalo give the ball to James Cook at the goal line, but James Cook still had an effective game. 19 carries for 71 yards. Caught all 3 of his targets for 32. And then the Buffalo receiving crew was kind of... It was Khalil Shakir only had 3 targets, 40 yards and a touchdown. And then Mac Hollins had 2 targets, 25 yards and a touchdown. Keon Coleman had 5 targets, 4 catches for 51. Curtis Samuel only had 2. MVS only had 2 targets. Dalton Kincaid only had 2 targets. Dawson Knox, 2 targets. Like, Josh Allen and James Cook are really the only, like, safe spots on this offense right now. Like, I'm a little worried about Kincaid only getting 2 targets, the same as Dawson Knox. Khalil, it seems like the receivers are going to be touchdown dependent. It's going to be trying to pick which one scores that week. I have Shakir. I think he's the one I would roster of the receiving crew, and Keon Coleman just based on upside. But Coleman led the team in targets, and he looked good.
He was also well above everyone on snap percentages. Shakir and Mac Hollins are both in the 50s. Keon Coleman was on the field for almost 75% of the snaps. Where he was right there with almost Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid was on the field for 84% of the snaps. So Kincaid only having 2 targets does worry me. But he was on the field so much more than Dawson Knox. So, at some point, you're going to have to start using him more, just like Marv is going to have to be used more.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
I think they will. I think it was just a weird game where, it was just the Josh Allen show, and he was just putting everybody on his back and just doing it himself.
100%. He almost had to. Their offense looked weird coming out, and they didn't really take advantage. They were down early in this game.
Yeah, against a bad defense.
A horrendous defense. So Buffalo, it's something I'm watching. It's kind of worrisome, but I'm very in on Keon Coleman for sure. He led the receivers in targets and well above in snap percentage. Get fucking Mac Hollins off that field. If Keon Coleman would have had his 2 catches, that would have been 25 more yards and a tutty. Come on, dude. What are we doing?
Yeah, it was nice to see Coleman out there, considering all the offseason stuff was like, he's not learning the playbook. He's struggling. So
very happy.
Nice to see. I think both offenses will end up sorting themselves out. Too much talent.
Yeah, I agree.
To not work. And then next game, which kind of void of offense, Tennessee, Chicago. The Bears won 24-17.
We can
the
just skip this game, I think.
Was incredible. They scored
Bears
2
defense
touchdowns.
Was horrendous, but that also goes off the bat. Will Levis might be legally blind. He can't see a blitz coming. Even if someone on the defense literally looked him in the face and goes, "Hey, dude, we're blitzing 8 people this play," he'd be like, "Oh, okay," and get sacked, stripped, fumbled, and a return for a touchdown. Will Levis is horrendous, dude. It's concerning.
I love Will Levis because that dude can chuck it, but he really just chucking it to the wrong team and just taking hits. And did you see Brian Callahan's quote? The Titans coach. He said that it's almost as if we just punted it on 1st and 10 every time, we might have won this game. Huge endorsement for your offense there, brother.
Their offense was bad, but Tony Pollard looked fine.
Tony Pollard looked good.
If we're talking Tony Pollard looked way better than Tajay Spears. He's a way better football player, dude. It's not even close.
I
like Spears, but Tony Pollard is in a different tier, dude. For everyone to have these guys so close going into the fantasy season, nah. Tony Pollard is the dude. Tajay Spears will be I don't even know.
He'll be playing the same role he played last year, backing up Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Pollard, 16 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He caught 3 passes for 12.
Mm-hmm.
Tajay Spears had only 4 carries.
4 carries
for 20 yards, but he had 4 targets, caught all 4 of them for 11. So inefficient there, but he was still involved. But the receiving
he'll
game
be involved.
In Tennessee was
bad.
Calvin Ridley had 7 targets. Tyler Boyd had 5. DeAndre Hopkins had 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Traylon Burks had as many carries as he did targets.
Yeah.
And then Chigakonkwo looks good in terms like if you're just looking at his numbers, but 2 catches for 15 yards in the touchdown.
Exactly. You take away that touchdown, horrendous game, dude.
So it might be a case where Will Levis might light up some bad defenses, but if he plays a strong defense, that's a stream. Find that defense to stream because Will Levis is going to throw a ton of interceptions.
He's going to get sacked a bunch. He's going to fumble a bunch because he's getting sacked. Tony Pollard is the only dude I'm trustworthy starting on Tennessee. Calvin Ridley, I think, will be fine. Hopkins, 1 target, 1 catch. That's very concerning, dude. Like, I get he's hurt.
I was to say, I wonder how much of that was just injury and just
I'm still easing up
things
until I see something more target-wise for Hopkins. But Ridley, I'm still fine with because Will Levis has to do fucking something, dude. Like, he can't just stand there and get sacked every play.
Yeah, the Bears' offense also looked bad. Caleb Williams, 14 for 29 for 93 yards.
Yeah.
5 carries for 15. He struggled, and Tennessee's not no great defense, but he looked lost out there sometimes. He tried doing the college hero ball stuff, just scrambling around. It
not gonna work.
He was taking hits. And then DeAndre Swift, 10 for 30.
Yep.
Yeah, but the positive, he was the work,
he was the guy.
Khalil Herbert, barely
on
got on the field. Travis Homer was second in running back snaps. He only played 9%. So if you're trying to find some upside there with DeAndre Swift, it is that it looks like he's the guy,
exactly.
Which was a worry of both of ours. Roschon Johnson didn't play, so we'll see how he factors in once he's healthy. But we were concerned that Chicago was just going to involve all their backs.
Exactly, and that's not the case. But Swift is usually really, really, what's the word I'm looking for?
Efficient,
yes. And he usually doesn't get the workhorse load. And I don't know what happened, dude. Something switched where he got a workhorse load and is like, hey, by the way, I'm not efficient anymore.
Yeah.
Come on, dude, put it together. This is your chance, I guess. They're giving you the snaps. Go out there and take it. But Caleb Williams, if you would have told me they won and they had 93 passing yards, I'd be like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. Will Levis gave this game away because Tennessee was winning. He threw that for him.
Yeah, there's a picture of him on his knees, dude, with it's bad, dude. He handed this game to the Bears.
Yep. Keenan Allen, 11 targets.
11 targets.
Only 4
he got hurt
catches for 29 yards. Yep. And he came into the game and had a heel injury.
Rome got hurt.
Yep. And then DJ Moore had an okay game. It was 1 carry, 14 yards, 5 catches for 36. And not exactly great, but 8 targets. So under Keenan Allen in targets, but neither really were worth starting this week.
No.
And Cole Kmet only had 1 target for 4 yards.
Yep. Gerald Everett had the same amount of targets. So, that's a concern. Cole Kmet's not worth starting. And, dude, I'm not. You're going to have to start DJ Moore. You drafted him to start him. I get it. But they got to start doing more passing. 93 passing yards is not going to win you games. But they're also going to have to get Swift more efficient, dude. They're just going to be them getting this win was pure luck. Yeah. Their defense is so good, and Will Levis is so bad versus good defenses.
Yep, maybe we should pump the brakes on the Bears hype going in, but we'll see. That defense is good enough that it probably can win them some games, and
it did
make up for Caleb Williams' inefficiencies as a rookie. And then, speaking of inefficiencies, the Cincinnati Bengals offense was horrible.
Horrendous.
And they lost to the New England Patriots. I said the Patriots in my bold prediction were going to win 1 game, and they already got it.
Yeah. Week 1 versus the Bengals, dude, which is...
And it's not even that New England looked great. Sans Ramondre Stevenson.
Dog.
That dude. 25 carries for 120 and a touchdown. He caught all 3 of his targets. Workhorse. And chances are things aren't going to go as nicely for him as they did Sunday, because I doubt New England's going to be winning a bunch of games where they can just
do
Ramondre just pound
a ton of red zone work too. Like they pounded the rock with him, dude, and he looked so fucking good, dude. Versus Cincinnati,
the Bengals defense is problematic.
Oh, it's trash. Like it's bad. But also, we need to give Joe Mixon his flowers, dude. Like this offense ran through Joe Mixon 4 years, and no one really acknowledged it. They can't run. Everyone knows you're passing, and it's not working. Like Zach Moss is the back. He did not look. He only had 9 carries. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, they just couldn't. They
you can't
establishing
run. They can't run. Yeah.
When Zach Moss ran, he was good. He averaged 5 a carry.
Yeah, but they just don't run. They can't. So they know they're passing. Like Joe Mixon, and we're gonna get to that at some point. But they need to establish a run game, dude. Like they're like, Jamar Chase played almost the whole game. He wasn't limited. Like he played a bunch. He played in 84% of the snaps. Like he was on the field, and get him the ball. Yeah. Who else are you giving the ball to, dude? Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, Zach Moss was super efficient, 9 for 44. He had a tutty, caught all of his targets. He finished as an RB19, so he was an RB2. Yeah. But yeah, Cincinnati's got to come out next week and establish a run. Zach Moss is capable of toting the rock for 15 to 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
And Chase Brown is capable to handle the backup load and get involved in the passing game. Like, the Bengals are notoriously slow starters, so that's what I'm banking this on. They're terrible the first 2 weeks of the season. Like Burrow's 1-8 in his career, weeks 1 and 2. So that's what I'm hopefully holding on to. But if not,
they got Kansas City.
The Bengals are in
week
for a long season. Yeah, tough matchup on the road.
Yeah, Kansas City. They're not ready. They are not ready for that, dude.
If the Bengals be playing like this week in, week out, Zach Taylor's getting fired at the end of the year, because there's no reason a team this talented is playing this bad.
Exactly. Like you need to go out there. Like, there's no reason they lost to Jared Mayo and New England. Like, I get, if it was close, it's close. I get it. It's week 1. You cannot lose this game, dude. You have Kansas City next week on the road, and you stumbled so hard coming out of the gate in week 1. There's no time to catch up week 2. You are going to play Kansas City in Kansas City in Arrowhead. If it's anything like last Sunday, they're going to get body bagged, dude.
Yeah. Like, Patriots won 16-10. It wasn't even that close. New England
no.
wiped them up.
Yeah.
The Patriots defense, props to them. They did a great job shutting down. Jamar Chase played most of the game, 6 catches, 62 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Yoshibas had the same amount of targets. He had 6 targets. He only caught 3 for 26. Like, the Bengals pass game was horrible. Like, they had a lot of unlucky plays. Like, Gesicki had a touchdown catch that he didn't follow through. And then they threw to Drew Hudson, and he fumbled at the 1.
Horrendous.
So, like, it was just a bad game, and hopefully it's just one of those games where they just look back like, hey, we got to improve, and they just throw it away and just wipe it from their mind.
Hopefully.
Because Burrow and Cincinnati have played Kansas City good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that continues. I don't see it happening. I do think they'll be better. I think they do come out and try to establish the run, but it might be an early red alert here in Cincinnati.
100%. I am very closely watching Cincinnati, and next week's going to be a struggle regardless. So they're going to have to come out and hope to God T. Higgins is back. Like, come on, like, you got to get these two dudes the ball, and you need to start giving Joe Mixon the ball more than 9 carries. Zach Moss more than 9 carries. Yeah. Like, he had 44 on 9. Like, give this dude the ball. You're only down 6. You lost by 6. You don't have to pass. Get the running game in the offense. Cincinnati's very worrisome.
Yeah. And New England's receiving crew, no one really worthwhile holding on to. KJ Osborne had 6 targets, so that was cool, but he only caught 3 for 21. Like, this offense isn't going to be a fantasy stalwart. Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
Next up, Joe Mixon and the Houston Texans.
The dog.
A fun game, 29-27. Houston win over Indianapolis. CJ Stroud looked good. 2 touchdowns. He actually led the league in passing, 234 yards. Anthony Richardson on the other side. What a wild game that guy had. 9 completions.
9,
for
less than 50%
yards.
Which is crazy, dude.
Of
course he's going to go out there.
Chucking it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's never been a quarterback to complete less than 50% of his passes and finish as a QB1. Richardson's going to be really close to that. Like this is going to be his completion percentage all season.
It's going to be a big play offense. That's what they're going to do. And both his touchdowns were 50+ yards.
Oh yeah, so it's very interesting to watch. He's going to have to go out there and make crazy throws, and he did. Like the one to Pierce, dude. Like he wasn't even set. Like he completely slipped, didn't have balance, and chucked this ball on a line right to Pierce.
One of the best throws I've ever seen.
It was probably the best throw of week 1. Him and Stafford had a really good throw. But it was better than any throw Justin Fields ever made. And that's who the guy I'm comparing him. He's always been my comparison. Justin Fields could not make that throw. He could never make that throw, and he will never make that throw. But the less than 50% is still very concerning for a real NFL quarterback. Like, I get he's great fantasy-wise. He's going to have to really get that under control, though, to really be an NFL quarterback.
They almost won that game.
I get that.
I'm not worried about Anthony Richardson.
I'm heavily he missed 2 wide open touchdowns. Like he completely missed. Like he has to get his completion percentage up. Like it's something he has to work on.
He hasn't even played 20 games in his career.
And I'm saying it's still
throughout everything.
It's still something to be concerned about.
It's not like this guy's played 70 games and he still has these issues. These are things you can retool. Like Josh Allen looked terrible coming in. He was throwing the ball 50% of the time, and eventually he figured that out.
Exactly. Is he Josh Allen? I don't think so, but we shall see. I think he's going to be way better than Justin Fields, though.
Yeah, I think Anthony Richardson is going to be a superstar. I'm not concerned.
I don't think he's going to be a real life superstar. I think he's going to be a real life fantasy superstar.
I think the Colts are going to be a really good football team as long as this guy's on their football team.
I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to be better than Houston.
Well, we'll see. They'll play again. And this game was fun. It was close. Joe Mixon, though.
Oh, yeah.
This dude ripped apart 30 carries.
Yeah.
159 yards, career high. 1 touchdown, and then 3 targets. Caught them all for 19. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon out there just balling out. Looked like he had fun. The Texans receivers looked good. I think this is going to be a case where we're going to have to. Not all 3 are ever going to hit at the same time. Tank Dell had a ton of air yards.
Tank Dell didn't work out
like 7 targets, but he only caught 3 for 40. Nico Collins is that dude.
He's a guy, for sure. He's that guy.
6 catches, 117, and a big 40-yard catch. And then Steph Diggs, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches for 30 yards. I think that's going to be like his average depth of target was like 1.5.
It was crazy low to where like Stroud's still chucking the ball to Tank Dell and Collins. Dell had a touchdown, he dropped it, or something happened. Like if that would have hit, he would have hit on the week. Like Tank Dell was still, if you just look at his stats, it's like, oh, he really didn't have that great of a game. He was still being used all the time, and he was still on the field all the time. Like he was still on the field for over 63%, which is right there with Diggs. So I'm like, Diggs was at 75. Yeah, Diggs had the 2 touchdowns. Like, and Diggs is gonna be a really big red zone threat for sure. He's an established NFL superstar at one point. Like he's still that good. So it's got, and like you said, none of these, all 3 can never hit. Like it might happen once or twice, and that's gonna be like a 50-point game for Houston. It's gonna be a crazy shootout. But Diggs, Collins, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, Stroud, start them all.
Yeah,
like those are all locks.
I'm still in the boat.
Also had 3 targets.
Yeah, I'm still in the boat that Nico Collins is the dude. I think he's the safest
he's the
one.
Safer
I think we're going to see Diggs and Dell alternating a lot on which ones hit. And but who knows? Maybe there's a week where Diggs and Dell hit, and Nico
if you would have slid just 1 touchdown from Diggs to Tank Dell, all 3 hit, and that's like Diggs had a touchdown, or Tank Dell had that touchdown. It was called back, dropped, whatever happened. I completely forget. But their offense is elite. Like they're that team. They're still really good. They're still very young. So Houston, keep an eye on them. They're good.
Jonathan Taylor over for Indianapolis, saved by a touchdown. 16 carries for 48 yards. Touchdown really boosted him up from having a disastrous game. And then the Colts receiving crew, the 2 guys you definitely didn't start in Alec Pierce and Ashton Dolan. Ashton Dolan, 1 catch for 54 yards and a touchdown. And then Alec Pierce, 3 catches for 125 and 1. Alec Pierce had the most routes run last year, and he just never was throwing the ball. And Anthony Richardson even said in an interview, like, hey, like last year for Alec Pierce was like a fluke. He's like, I'm going to throw this dude the ball. And he did. He came out here and did it. And Michael Pittman still got his share. He had 8 targets. It was just...
Yeah, but they're bad
ended
targets.
Up just
they're
being
bad.
four catches for 31 yards. A classic Michael Pittman game when, he pre-Richardson and Minshew, where he just kind of just got these bad targets.
Yeah, and then Pittman doesn't get a touchdown, he's very concerning.
Like, yeah, he's just got to get a ton of catches.
Like all of these receivers, I don't feel comfortable starting any of them. I would still pick Pittman out of any of them, but I think they're all just big play dependent. Like A.D. Mitchell had 2 wide open touchdowns, completely air sailed him. Like
he had 5 targets too.
Yeah, and two of them should have been touchdowns, but he couldn't get the ball. Yep. So he would have been right up there with Alec Pierce. But I don't think Alec Pierce is going to do this every week to where Mitchell can get a touchdown. Pittman's going to get a touchdown. Josh Downs is going to come back. And when Downs comes back, he's going to be a target guy. So all of these receivers, I think, just eat at each other where they're not going to be really fantasy relevant, but they're all going to be real fine in the NFL season.
It's a case of you're Anthony Richardson is the guy on the Colts you want. He's going to get all that stuff. And then I'm not overly concerned with Jonathan Taylor. We'll see if it happens again next week. Then maybe I'll be like, maybe we got to watch JT. Like a lot of running backs don't always succeed well with running quarterbacks, and Anthony Richardson had 50 yards rushing,
50 carries
for a touchdown.
Dead.
He dogged his way into that end zone. He wasn't being stopped. That was a 4th down play.
That's also a play he got hurt twice on, which is very concerning. That's exactly what happened last year. He hurt his shoulder doing that. At some point, if you want to stay on the field, you can't be taking hits like that. It's already been proven that he's been hurt twice doing it. It's something to keep an eye out. It's concerning.
Usually things like those do come with maturity as well. Unless you're Josh Allen. Josh Allen still just throws his body around.
Yeah, his body's built for it.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson's is not. He's already been hurt twice.
And then a game that should have been more exciting next up, Miami, Jacksonville, 2017. There was the whole Tyreek Hill getting arrested before the game, which was insane. Miami, though, I lied. I said, I feel I'm going to do this every week. Tua led the league in passing. He had 300 yards.
You sure Derek Carr didn't have more than that?
No, I don't think so. But that's the next game.
He only had 2.
Yeah. But Tua, 338, 1 touchdown, 50 yards.
Some type of helicopter going over the house.
To Tyreek Hill. But the offenses for this game didn't look great. No. Miami, Tyreek had the big play. Like, the running game for Miami was super inefficient. Like, Mostert, 6 carries for 9. He got banged up, so that's something to watch out for going into a Thursday game. Even
him and Achane both got tagged for questionable for Thursday. They both got hurt.
Yeah. So Achane, Mr. 8 yards a carry, had 10 carries for 24, but he 7 targets, caught them all for 76 yards. He did have a rushing touchdown, which
he is their slot receiver.
And he played more. He played more than Mostert too, but
he also got a goal line carry.
I would assume most of that was towards Mostert getting banged up. That they were just kind of easy because Jeff Wilson got a lot of time at the end there. Jalen Wright was inactive. Tyreek Hill, huge game, 12 targets, 7 for 131.
Always is,
and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 5 catches for 109.
He was ruled out halfway through the game, which was very concerning.
Still playing.
And then he just came back, and I'm like, thank God, because I'm heavily tied to Waddle in a lot of leagues, and I'm a big Waddle supporter. And we always made the joke that Jalen Waddle gets questionable tagged 4 or 5 times throughout a game. And when I got the ruled out tag, I'm like, what the hell even happened? And then thank God he came back. But him and Tyreek are the only 2 receivers on that team that had a catch. Like, Achane is the slot receiver on this team. Like, he's and he's so valuable to this offense. He's the slot receiver. He's the goal line back right now with Mostert a little bit banged up. Achane, I'm starting hard.
I mean, and you also got to worry about Achane getting banged up, though.
He's undersized for sure. And then Tyreek, it's almost like he's going to have a big play like that every game. Like, he's unguardable, dude. Like, and like, Tua missed him on a wide open bomb, too. Like, if he would have had that, he would have 200 yards. He had 200 yards, 2 tutties. He would have been wide receiver 1. And he's still that dude. Like, even with the whole shenanigans before the game, which is outlandish to be happening, like, Tyreek Hill is so fucking good, dude. It's so much fun to watch.
Jacksonville offense a bit concerning. They started strong, and then like
The running game, we got to keep an eye out.
They took the ball out of Trevor Lawrence's hands, and like ETN wasn't efficient. 12 for 44. He had a touchdown, which saved his game. He also fumbled. Tank Bigsby had the same amount of carries as Trevor Lawrence, 73 yards.
They did exactly what they said they wanted to do. They wanted to split the workload, the lower it for ETN, and they both had 12 carries. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Tank Bigsby might be a guy to watch out if he's on your waiver market and you're in need of a running back. He might be worth taking a peek on. Brian Thomas Jr., my guy, 4 catches, 47 yards, beautiful touchdown catch. But was it a touchdown? They kept showing it as if like it was a questionable thing, and he was clearly in bounds.
It was crazy. They they stopped the kicker from kicking the extra point. They're like, we have to review this.
Yep.
He got 3 feet in. It was clear as the day. It was the craziest thing in the world.
Gabe Davis, 3 catches for 62, and then like the 2 so-called safe options for the Jaguars. Christian Kirk, 1 catch for 30 yards on 4 targets. Evan Ingram, 1 catch for 5 yards on 4 targets.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of that is
what happened.
Doug Peterson's offense just being real clunky, because like they were moving the ball real well in the first half, and then they just couldn't in the second half. Like they just took the ball out of their elite quarterback's hands, and then when they did throw, it was just, bad play calling. Like, I don't like Doug Peterson necessarily. I do think he holds this team back, but if you have Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, I'd be slightly concerned, more so for Christian Kirk than Evan Ingram, because Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis both look good. So it might be a case where they played him out of the lineup.
Like, he still had as many targets as Brian Thomas Jr. and 1 more than Gabe Davis, but it's still concerning. Like, he should have led the team in targets. He's that kind of receiver. And Evan Ingram should have led the game out of like receiving targets. Him to have 4 targets is a crime. Like, he's a huge target kind of guy, and that's the kind of weapon he is. You got to pepper him with targets to get him involved, and they just weren't doing it. I don't understand what they were even trying to do, because the running game really wasn't working. It wasn't efficient. And then like Brian Thomas had that really nice touchdown, but you got to get all these guys way more involved if you want to be successful at some point this year. Same with the Dolphins too. At the Dolphins, they should have scored in the 30s. They need to do something, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they got lucky in this game, but they're only playing Jacksonville. And it was at home. Like, that's where Miami thrives. They thrive in this hot weather. And it was hot as shit there, dude.
But Jacksonville also in Florida, so they're used to it.
Yeah, that is true. But the way the Dolphins have their stadium set up, it's like they're always in the shade and the away team's not. Like, Jacksonville had the disadvantage the way it is, but Miami needs to come out and really start slinging that ball a little bit more. Tua needs to hit his open receivers. That's a concern.
And he had that problem last year, too. He does tend to miss on deep plays. Next up, highest scoring team in the league, the New Orleans Saints, dropping 47 points on the Carolina Panthers, who scored 10. Carolina
is bad. Carolina's bad. Carolina's fucking bad.
And it's a shame, because Dave Canales is a great coach, and it's just maybe New Orleans defense is really good.
No.
Who knows?
No.
Carolina.
I'm still looking at the
13
Saints
for
as
30.
a mediocre at best. Like, the Saints are mediocre at best. The Carolina, though, is horrendous.
Bryce Young, 13 for 30, 161, 2 interceptions. He did have a rushing touchdown. The running game there
was
Miles Sanders, 5 carries for 22 yards. Chuba Hubbard, 6 carries for 14. Mike Boone had 4 carries for 7. So who knows how much of that's just they were getting blown out. So like they were
the run game was
not using Chuba. But if you were
the run game was
Chuba,
scripted out. Who banks on Chuba?
Like if you did a 0 RB build, Chuba Hubbard is a good late round guy because he was supposed to be the starting back, and it looks like this is more of a timeshare than we expected, and Miles Sanders is probably going to be as involved as Chuba Hubbard, at least judging by early on.
Like, I get it. Like, if you look at these guys, like, just talent-wise, I would take Miles Sanders talent-wise over Chuba Hubbard. Like, I've seen the seasons Miles Sanders has had.
Chuba Hubbard was an RB1 at the end of last year.
Yeah, he was fine, but that's only a short stretch of time. Miles Sanders did this throughout the season twice in Philly. Like, I get why they paid him. He's still a talented guy. I would personally take him over Chuba Hubbard, talent-wise. He's finished RB 14, 15 before. Like, Chuba Hubbard is not that guy.
And then the receiving game in Carolina was just Xavier Legette was involved. I like that.
He led the team in targets.
7 targets. Again, how much of that though was just them being down and just like Deontay Johnson only had 6 targets and he had 2 catches for 19, and then Mingo had 5 targets, 2 for 40. Thielen had 4 targets, 3 for 49. Like, Carolina might be one of those teams you don't want any piece of that offense.
I was literally about to say, I would start 0 people on this offense, even Deontay Johnson.
I don't even know when Johnny Brooks comes back if he's going to be an effective piece, judging by how this goes.
I think it's going to be a timeshare with all of them. He just adds another running back to the mix of already mixed running backs. And he's going to be coming back off a huge injury, so they're not going to workhorse him.
Yeah.
So I'm out on Carolina completely now. Like, the way the season's going, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a fun ride.
Yep. Derek Carr over New Orleans, 19 for 23, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Taysom Hill, it wasn't a Taysom Hill day, 5 carries, so he got a decent amount of work, 35 yards, 1 catch for 1. They did throw a jump ball touchdown to him, it just didn't hit.
Which is crazy.
Alvin Kamara still got his work, 15 carries for 83 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches for 27. Efficient game on the ground for him. Jamal Williams also got a touchdown at garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
Rashid Shaheed, Derek Carr loves just chucking the ball to this dude. 3 catches for 73 yards and a 50-yard touchdown.
Him and
for Shaheed.
Shaheed and Carr have to live together. Like, they're literally best friends. I swear to God. Like, it's the movie Step Brothers. Like, I swear, like, if one goes out, the other one's tailing right behind them. It's crazy. Use Chris Olave, you fucking coward. What the hell?
Derek Carr hates Chris Olave. Dennis Allen hates Chris Olave. 2 targets for your first-round wide receiver for 11 yards. 2 catches.
Get that guy out of fucking New Orleans. New Orleans does not deserve Chris Olave. It's a fucking sham.
Yeah. And then the other tight ends, Foster Moreau, tight end 2, 4 catches for 43 and a touchdown. Juwan Johnson, 2 catches, 26 yards and a touchdown. I don't see this sort of efficiency happening every week in New Orleans, and I'm worried about the use of Chris Olave going forward. Like, it might be more of a closer battle with him and Shaheed than we think. Like, Derek Carr loves Rashid Shaheed. We'll see if that continues going forward. Also, Shaheed has to stay healthy. He has a habit of getting banged up. But Alvin Kamara, was nice to see him effective on the ground. Didn't see that last year. And then he still got his pass work in. So Alvin Kamara, good safe pick. He's going to be fine if you got him. Olave is really the only one I'm concerned about.
Yeah, it's just concerning all. Like, in general with Olave, get him out of there. New Orleans is garbage. Derek Carr is garbage. Dennis Allen's garbage. Kamara, Godspeed, dude. But he's going to rock it out. He's a New Orleans kind of guy. They're just going to force him to rock.
Speaking of garbage, next up, Minnesota, 28, New York Giants, 6. Daniel Jones. You'd love to see him throw the ball 42 times in a game and I would love to see that guy of them.
Never suit up in a New York Giants uniform again, dude. He's going to get Brian Daboll fired, dude, and it breaks my heart.
22 for 42 for 186, 2 interceptions.
He's
6 carries on the ground for 15 yards.
He's so bad. I will not sit here and say a nice thing about him. He owes every New York Giants fan money. Like, send me money, Danny Jones. Like, $160 million down the toilet. Yeah, fuck that guy. He's ruining my franchise. Giants offense,
definitely something to be considered. Like, Devin Singletary, 10 carries for 37 yards, 4 catches for 15.
He's the workhorse, though. If we're not getting blown out, he's going to get the carries.
Yeah. And Wan'Dale Robinson had 12 targets, which is insane.
Is disgusting.
But that's a classic Daniel Jones, just throw the ball off at 6 catches for 44 yards. Malik Neighbors had 7 targets, 5 for 66. So at least you got to see some of that explosiveness from Neighbors. Darius Slayton, 3 for 26.
4 targets.
Yep. Yeah, I am a little concerned for Neighbors, but he still at least put up an effective game. So he should still be effective no matter who the quarterback is. I don't know how long Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback if he's playing like this.
Dable's already confirmed him as a starter for week 2. He didn't even question it, which is outlandish. But we play Washington next game. It's a division game.
Yep. Bad defense.
It's a horrendous defense. If you can't go out there and look half capable, get that dude off the field, dude. I don't care who you put in there, even if it's Danny fucking DeVito again. I hate that fucking guy more than I hate Danny Jones. But I am so tired of watching Danny Jones ruin my franchise. It is horrendous. Get that guy out of New York. Bring in anybody. I don't care. Suit up Brian Dable as quarterback. It has to be a better option. Bring in Malik Willis. God damn. No, don't do that. That guy's bad.
But we got to give some credit to the Vikings defense. Brian Flores went out here. He's put
Brian
together
Flores
a unit.
An amazing defensive coordinator.
The Vikings defense could be a top 10 unit every week. And Sam Darnold looked good. This is another case. Kevin O'Connell is an elite play caller from the offensive side of the ball. 19 for 24, 208 and a touchdown. He did throw an interception. Aaron Jones looked good. 14 for 94.
Way better than I thought he would.
Yeah, Ty Chandler was involved in the passing game. 3 catches for 25 yards, 8 carries for 17. Wasn't really effective in the running game. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Addison, 3 catches for 35, and he hurt his other ankle.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be out a bit. So watch out for Jalen Naylor, who they told Speedy that he was going to be TJ Hawkinson until TJ Hawkinson came back. And now Jordan Addison's out. So Jalen Naylor here is going to get a ton of playing time. If the Vikings offense is moving the ball and effectively, he's a guy. Peep your waiver wire. He had a touchdown, 21-yard touchdown catch for Jalen Naylor. Minnesota loves him, and I'm in on him. I've swiped him up in like a lot of my deep dynasty leagues to get him involved. But
Addison missed like 2.5 weeks of practice with the ankle injury from the other ankle. So if it's a similar thing, he's going to miss 2 games, maybe 3. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders, 22-10 in favor of the Chargers. This game was kind of a snooze. Gardner Minshew wasn't great. Zamir White wasn't great.
Bad.
Alexander Madison was efficient.
Loved
5
it.
carries for 19 yards, 4 catches for 43, and a beautiful touchdown catch. Hurdled the defender. Vegas might be a case at running back wise that they might just go with the hot hand. Madison was the hot hand.
That's what they said they were doing. Yep.
So if he's out there, swipe him up on your waivers because it's going to be a timeshare here, it looks like. And
you've seen it
that's
happen.
Where Alexander Madison shined timeshare wise.
Yeah, White started the game and he couldn't get anything going, and then they just put Madison in and he just kept rolling, and they didn't look back. So if White ends up coming out hot, they're going to stick with him, I would assume. But if he can't get it, Madison's that change of pace kind of back where White really can't do what Madison does.
Yeah. Zamir White, 13 carries, 44 yards. He caught both of his targets for only 2 yards. He also fumbled.
Yeah.
So concerning there. Devontae Adams, 6 targets, 5 catches for 59 yards. Jacoby Myers, 3 for 61. Trey Tucker, 2 for 22. Like, the Raiders passing game is not it. Brock Bowers, though, 8 targets, 6 catches, 58 yards. He looked great. The Chargers could not stop that dude.
He's uncoverable. He's a true nightmare when it comes to like who you're lining him up against. They need to start forcing Adams and him the ball. Like, if you're gonna pass, get those 2 guys the ball, and even Myers. Like, get Myers the ball more. Like, he looked good. Myers is a really good underrated receiver. He's a good number 2. Like, get these guys the ball. Like, force these 3 guys the ball. Whatever you can do. And
I don't know how long Gardner Minshew's gonna have this job.
If he keeps playing like that, it's not going to be long.
Yeah, if you look at 25 for 33, not terrible, 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also fumbled, so 2 turnovers. He just couldn't move the ball.
We should also talk about fucking Antonio Pierce being the most cowardice pussy in the world. Did you hear what happened? I'm really upset. Like,
I didn't.
They're the first team since 2016 to be, you're down a touchdown in the 4th quarter with under 7 minutes left, and he punted. They were in Chargers territory, and he punted the ball. If the Chargers score a field goal, it's already a 2-possession game, then it's a wrap. It was 4th and 1. You don't think your offense can get 1 yard? You don't punt the ball on 4th and 1 when you're in the opposite territory.
Yeah, you trust your defense.
Like you go out there and you get that freak. It doesn't matter who's running that ball. If your offense can't get 1 yard, it's a wrap. Like your team is done. Like you're the first team to do that since 2016. Like you don't punt on that. You just don't do it.
Yeah, even if you do go for it and don't get it, the Raiders' defense is strong enough that Antonio Pierce should have trusted them to stop the Chargers, because it's not like the Chargers' offense was blowing up the world. Josh Palmer got ejected.
Well, idiot,
Justin
fucking
Herbert
idiot, dude.
He got into a fight with one of the corners in Vegas. Yeah, 17 for 26 for Herbert, 144 and a touchdown. Like those were great numbers.
Like J.K. Dobbins had 2 crazy runs. That was their offense.
You look J.K. Dobbins at his yard total 135. You're like, whoa, 2 carries. One was 60 yards. One was 40.
Yeah,
so
that's 100 yards right
there.
Do
the math. Those other 8 carries, he's got 2 yards.
Yeah.
And then Gus Edwards, he wasn't getting going 11 for 26. And then
Gus had a bad game.
Looked good. 5 catches for 39, a touchdown. Huge had 5 targets, 3 for 38. So we'll see how much of that was also Josh Palmer getting ejected. So, but the Chargers offense looks ineffective as well. So we'll see where that goes.
Nothing to drive home. Like their offense isn't gonna be great, and that's the kind of ball they're playing. Like they're gonna run the ball. Gus out carried JK, but Dobbins is way more explosive. But you also seen Dobbins can't finish runs. Like he got truly gassed.
He runs out of gas.
He almost gave up on the one run. Like he knew he wasn't gonna score. He just covered up the ball. He's like, I'm gonna be tackled at some point.
Yeah.
Like he's still not an explosive. Like he's good for a short yard burst, but he can't finish runs. And Gus Edwards is 100% touchdown dependent. Like if he's not getting a touchdown, his game is all bust, dude.
The Chargers are going to end up being a really good football team, and it's going to be a team I want 0 fantasy.
Yeah,
numbers. Like even maybe McConkey.
If you take away Ladd's touchdown, he 5 catches for 30 some
30 yards. Yeah,
that's a bad game, dude. Like that's nothing we're talking about. So yeah, the Chargers offense, I'm out on. Antonio Pierce, you don't do that. He might be fired. Like at some point, like you don't do that. That's crazy.
Moving on, Seattle, Denver, Seahawks 26-20 over the Broncos. Geno Smith, sluggish start for Seattle. They started really
their whole
clunky,
passing game was weird, dude.
Safeties and they couldn't move the ball. And then they turned it around, 18 for 25, 171, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Geno also had another touchdown on the ground, so a 2-touchdown game for Geno Smith. Kenneth Walker looked like a superstar,
amazing.
Though.
He looked so
he
good,
did
dude.
leave the game with an abdominal injury, so we'll see how that goes. And Zach Charbonnet looked good. He had a receiving touchdown, so we'll see how effective he is. It looks like both guys are going to get involved, but Charbonnet is a guy to watch out. If Kenneth Walker doesn't play this week, try getting Zach Charbonnet if he's available, because he's going to be the guy there. But Ken Walker, 20 for 103 and a touchdown, 2 catches for 6 yards. That dude was ripping Denver apart.
This is what he did last year. Like he is an amazing talent, but he gets hurt. Like it happened last year. He had a huge stretch of games where Ken Walker is on RB1. And then he just got hurt, and then his whole season was kind of wishy-washy from there on out because he's just banged up. But Charbonnet, 8 carries for 12 yards, that's dog shit.
Yeah. But
his
2
whole
catches for
points
29 and
he's
a touchdown.
Yeah. So I get you would have to pick him up because he would be the guy at next under Walker, but I don't think he's going to be nearly as efficient when it comes to rushing. No. Ken Walker is an elite rushing back, and he's so good, dude. I hope to God he can just stay healthy, dude.
Yeah. And you brought up the receiving game. Tyler Lockett.
Crazy dog. I love that. Use my boy, baby.
Led the team in targets, 6 catches for 77 yards, 7 targets. DK was locked down. Patrick Surtain really shut him down.
And
4
that's going to
targets,
happen.
3 for 29. Yeah. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba, 2 for 19.
Concerning.
And then Noah Fant, only 4 targets and 2 for 11. So he wasn't really involved at all. So, but Denver, strong defense. So they did a great job at least shutting down Smith and Jigba, and DK. Patrick Surtain really locked him down, and it really opened the field for Tyler Lockett. And I think Seattle's going to be the same case of Houston, where all 3 of these guys aren't going to hit at once. But Geno Smith's not CJ Stroud, so you're likely only getting 1 guy to hit from this receiving crew per week.
Yeah. Well, anyone playing Denver, you really need to watch out for Surtain. Like if your number 1 is going up against Surtain, that's something you have to watch out for. It's like he is that dude on the opposite end of the ball, and he's going to lock down guys. And you've seen it here with DK. Like DK is an elite receiver, 3 catches for 29 yards. And those games are going to happen when Patrick Surtain is on the other side of the field. But Lockett, he's a great PPR flex option. They're gonna use him in the offense. And JSN though, you have to watch out. Like if this keeps happening, that's very concerning.
Yeah. Denver though.
Oh,
that
dude,
team is.
Bo
Bo Nix was 26 for 42 for 138, 2 interceptions. He did have a rushing touchdown. The running backs there are a concern. It looks like it's a three-way split. Jaleel McLaughlin led the team in carries, 10 carries, but only 27 yards. He fumbled. He had 5 catches for 1 yard.
Yeah. I don't even know how that happens.
Javonte, 8 carries for 23. He had 1 catch for 0 yards. Yep. Estime had 2 carries for 14. He had a nice run. He had a hurdle there. He looked like he had some juice. So Denver, and then like the receiving crew, Devon Valey out of nowhere, 8 targets.
Yep.
8 catches. Caught them all for 39 yards. I've heard the Mike Thomas comp, like Sean Payton loves this guy, so he might be a guy to keep an eye on PPR wise. He could get you like that's 11 points right there, and 8 of them are just from catches. So he might be a guy to watch PPR wise. Josh Reynolds, he also had 8 targets, 5 for 45. Cortland Sutton had 12 targets, only caught 4 of them for 38.
Yep.
And then Marvin Mims was on 0 catches on 1 target. Greg Dulcich, 3 targets, 2 catches for 12 yards. Denver is a bad offense. It's one I'm concerned as a Javonte owner. That
Javonte, you do not start. Not start Javonte next week.
The problem is cannot be done. I have my only other running back besides him in the league that I start 2 running. Well, I have him in my money league too, where I start him and Kyron. And my backup running backs are Gus Edwards and Ty Chandler. So, like, I'm struggling for a back here. So I might be pinpointed into just forced to start Javonte Williams. But, yeah, red alert on the Denver running crew and the Denver offense in general. Devon Valey, again, PPR guy. Keep an eye on him. He might be worth throwing $1 or 2 fab-wise and maybe just stash him. Maybe just PPR's his way to an effective fantasy option. But Denver, it's really their defense. They're the only part of this team I'm going to ever want to start. Yeah,
Bo Nix was exactly what Bo Nix is. Like he was 2 for 10 on targets, I think 10 or 12 yards down the field. Like it's bad, and both of his picks came down the field. Like he's not a deep, but his short stuff, he was really efficient, really good short wise, and his rushing, he had a good rushing touchdown. But he can't pass the ball, dude. Like, he can't go far down the field. He's really bad when it comes to that. It's something you're going to have to watch out for with Denver. Like, all of these receivers are going to be catching the ball really, really close to the line of scrimmage. So that essentially takes Cortland Sutton game out of the picture. That's not what he does. So it's a wash in Denver, dude. Like, I'm not starting any of these fucking guys.
Nope. All right, Dallas Cowboys, Cleveland Browns, Dallas 33-17. Dak got paid right before the game.
Killed him.
Highest paid player in NFL history. He had a fine game. He wasn't needed, though. 19 for 32, 179, and 1. The running game in Dallas also, like Zeke, the touchdown saved his game at 10 for 40, 2 catches for 9. Rico Dowdle had 8, so it's a true split pretty much, but 26 yards, 1 catch. Brandon Cooks
had a nice
7
touchdown.
targets, 4 for 40 and 1. CeeDee Lamb, 10 targets, 5 for 61, 3 carries for 25.
He's the backup running back.
He's the most efficient running back.
Yeah.
But Dallas, it was, again, a case like not a great fantasy day for Dallas, but they didn't need it. Deshaun Watson, I don't know if you got the ESPN alert, but apparently like a lawsuit was filed on him. Get him out of here. Put Jameis in.
100%.
Make Cleveland fun again. Like, get them a gun. Deshaun Watson is washed. He's washed. He's done. Sitting the year ruined his career. And 100%. Then the whole lawsuit stuff, and then just he's never been healthy since. Like, Cleveland needs to just wipe their hands of it and just eat the bullet.
To be honest, I'm 100% a conspiracy theorist. I think Cleveland had this fucking lawsuit leaked. I 100% think they're 100% behind this.
So to get this guy out
to get this guy out of fucking town. The dude is not an NFL quarterback. He's not an NFL backup quarterback at this point. He's a bum.
He's done 24 for 45, dude. 169 and 1, 2 interceptions.
Trash.
Jerome Ford had a strong game.
He had a nice cheap touchdown at the end of the game.
Yep. 12 carries, 44 yards, and a touchdown. 6 catches for 25 yards. It was nice to see him involved in the passing game. Amari Cooper was ineffective. He dropped a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy had 8 targets, 3 for 25 and 1. Elijah Moore had 6, 3 for 9. Amari Cooper 2 on 9 targets for 16 yards.
He had the targets.
Cedric Tillman wasn't involved at all. 1 target, 1 catch for 3 yards. Njoku, he's got the high ankle sprain, so we're looking at time missed for him. Things are not looking good in Cleveland. Jake Ferguson on the other side also injured. So
that is true. He's looking that he might play though. He's running with the offense of likely to play.
But how effective is he going to be?
He's not going to be. Yeah. That's the problem. Like if he plays, you still cannot play him because
if Brandon Cooks is out there, he's the guy to look at. Get him on your team because he's now the number 2 option. Because Luke Shoemaker isn't going to be eating into targets in this offense if Jake Ferguson doesn't play.
But yeah, if he doesn't play, you're gonna have to.
Showing.
Yeah, Cleveland was bad. Their defense is gonna have to tighten it up. This game was over before halftime. Like this game was a wash. This game was done. Cleveland needs to figure out their quarterback fast, dude. Like put in Winston, get Watson off the field. Especially with this lawsuit that just came out, dude. Like the dude's a scumbag, dude. I don't care. Like doesn't matter if he's proven innocent or not. Like all of this, you're a fucking scumbag, dude. Get this dude off the field. Put Winston in. He's a true leader. The team will rally behind him. Flacco got this team to the playoffs, dude. What? Jameis Winston, if he has an elite defense, good weapons around him, he's a capable quarterback, dude.
Yeah. For fantasy, too, it makes everyone better.
So much
this
better
team.
for fantasy.
Because if Deshaun Watson's there all season, Amari Cooper, not a safe option anymore. Njoku, now hurt, coming back from an injury. Deshaun Watson doesn't necessarily like using Njoku either. I'm kind of out on Cleveland. Like I was in just because of how good their defense was, but now, not so much. Washington and Tampa Bay, the Bucks 37-20, big game from Baker.
Dog.
Imagine if the Browns just kept that guy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't like that's what Cleveland. That's their kind of motto. Like they want the underdog. He's an undersized quarterback with a chip on your shoulder. And then you just bring in Watson. Like, what? Like, you had your quarterback. He won you a playoff game versus the Steelers. And then you just throw him away to Tampa. And now Tampa has a playoff win under their belt with him.
He went to the Rams and the Panthers in between. He looked terrible in Carolina.
He was in the Rams for 5 minutes.
He looked good in that 5 minutes. He had that 99-yard touchdown drive. But Baker, 24 for 30, 289, 4 touchdowns. Mike Evans, Hall of Famer, 2 touchdowns.
Famer, dude.
And
Godwin, great game.
5 for 61 and 2 for Mike Evans on 6 targets. Chris Godwin caught all 8 of his targets for 83 and a touchdown. Jalen McMillan had a touchdown catch, 1 for 32.
He also dropped a wide open touchdown.
He did, yeah. Baker was moving the ball to Rashad White, 15 for 31, a classic Rashad White game there, but 6 catches for 75 yards. Bucky Irving looked good. Love to see that. 9 for 62. 2 catches for 14 yards. That kind of makes me worried. He was efficient.
A little concerning for
Rashad White's carries. But the Tampa offense, people were sleeping on the Bucks all offseason. Like this team, they were my pick to win the division again. Yeah. And
the Bucks are good, dude. And like Bucky Irving only had 6 less carries than Rashad White. Like that's something to watch. And he had 62 yards on the 9 carries, dude. He's a little waiver watch. Like if you need a running back, you need a little flex option.
We stand Bucky Irving on this podcast. I don't care that he's slow. He's a good football player.
He looked so fast on that field, dude. Like I still don't understand his 40 time.
Yep. Speaking of good football players, Jaden Daniels, 17 for 24, 184 passing game. 16 carries for 88 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. I do worry about the Washington receivers with Jaden Daniels, but I'm not worried about the running backs. That includes Austin Eckler, but Brian Robinson, 12 for 40 and a touchdown.
Great game.
4 targets, 3 catches for 49 yards. Brian Robinson really involved. Austin Eckler, 2 carries for 10 yards, but 4 targets for 52. Caught all 4 of them. So he's going to be involved in the passing game. So, like, neither of the running backs worry me going forward. Jaden Daniels doesn't worry me going forward just from his rushing upside, and I'm hoping the passing stuff comes along the way. But I'm a little worried starting Terry McLaurin and even Zach Ertz early on right now. Like, I just don't think they're going to be involved. Like, McLaurin was, 4 targets, 2 catches for 17 yards.
2 for 17, yeah.
Yeah.
In a receiving room that's not crowded at all. Like, you should be the dude. And, like, I'm not actively starting Zach Ertz, but, like, he's going to get the targets, but they're bad targets. all of these targets, the receivers and tight ends are just bad targets. They're going to have to start moving the ball downfield a little bit more. But like you said, I'm in on the running backs going forward. 100% in on Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
He's going to finish a QB1 if he keeps this shit up. Like, he's a dog, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but the
Eckler
receivers
led the team.
Receivers
led the team
me.
in receiving yards with 52.
Yeah, he's the receiver.
Brian Robinson was second on the team in receiving yards with 49. Then Zach Ertz at 28. And then Luke McCaffrey at 18, Terry McLaurin at 17. The receivers and tight ends, I'm worried about their involvement, but the running game,
100%.
Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are going to be fine plays for this team. And Jaden Daniels, he looks the part. He's just going to continue to get better.
Yep, for sure, dude. Daniels looked good.
Yeah. All right, Sunday night. Detroit overtime victory over the Rams, 26-20. The Rams did lose Puka Nacua. He went on IR, so he's going to miss at least 4 games, which is a shame because...
For sure.
Yeah, but Matt Stafford, 34 for 49, 317, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Kyron was the guy. Blake Corum didn't touch the ball.
He's not even the backup.
And Ronnie Rivers only had 2 carries. 18 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown for Kyron, 3 catches for 4 yards for him. And then Cooper Kupp, 21 targets.
Dude. Yeah. How crazy.
14 catches, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. And Minnesota Golden Gopher legend Tyler Johnson.
Great game. He
came in for Puka Nacua, 5 catches for 79 yards. He had a big 40-plus yard catch. I've been a Tyler Johnson guy in Minnesota. That's my team, and I love this dude. He just can't get his head in the game. He's just bounced around on teams. He finally got a chance to do it. He's a waiver wire guy. If you have Puka, Tyler Johnson's a guy, just snag him up because the Rams are just straight to their depth chart. Like,
yeah, that's how they're running.
Jordan Whittington backs up Cooper Kupp. So if Cooper Kupp goes down, Jordan Whittington's playing. Yep. Tyler Johnson is Puka's backup, and then you have DeMarcus Robinson backed up by Tutu Atwell. DeMarcus Robinson, also another guy I think you should probably snatch up. I imagine he gets more involved here going forward. But he still had 7 targets, 4 for 42. Colby Parkinson as well. Rams tight ends, they do get their share. That's just dirty work. 4 for 47. If you had Ferguson or Njoku, he's probably a guy to just try to pick up and just spot start for a game.
If Likely isn't on waivers, there are leagues where he's not. Parkinson's one of the guys I'm really looking at for tight end. They run designed plays for Parkinson. Like, a lot of teams don't do that with these tight ends where they're getting 4 targets. He had 5 targets that were all really good targets, and he had 47 yards on 4 catches.
Yep,
so if you need a tight end,
nothing sexy, but good floor for Colby Parkinson.
Exactly. You add a touchdown to that, it's a really, really good game. It's exactly like Tyler Higbee. Exactly. Who I would be fine streaming if I needed a tight end.
Yeah. And then Detroit, Jared Goff, not the best game, 18 for 28, 217, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The running game looked great in Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs, 11 for 40, 1 touchdown, 4 grabs for 34. David Montgomery just ran the Rams defense into the ground in overtime.
The Rams were
carries,
gassed,
91
dude.
yards,
Like, they didn't even
1
pass.
touchdown.
They didn't need the pass.
And then it was the coming out party for Jameson Williams.
I'm so happy,
first round talent finally
dude.
came up. He had a 13-yard run, 5 catches for 121 and a touchdown. The Rams defense did an amazing job of shutting Amon-Ra St. Brown down.
I've never seen Amon-Ra locked down like that, dude. I don't know how the fuck they did that. 3
catches for 13 yards.
Yeah. I don't know how the Rams defense did that, dude. It's truly insane. But the Williams game, dude. Williams,
Jameson Williams,
Laporta was fine.
If he's somehow out there in your league, throw the money at him because he's going to be used. There's no Josh Reynolds here anymore. He's the guy. Sam Laporta, 4 for 45, fine game. But Detroit, it was really about the running game. Both running backs were great, and then Jameson Williams coming out party.
Yeah, the Williams coming out party, dude, like, I was so happy about it, dude. I loved him in Bama, dude. And he was a first-round draft pick, and I'm like, oh, Detroit is going to be great, and I just haven't used him.
And they moved up far to get him.
Yeah,
like,
and
Minnesota
now
drafted 12, and Detroit moved up from, like, the 20s.
Yeah, so it really seems that the coaches trust him finally, and they're out here giving him the rock, dude, and it's phenomenal to watch. He's so fast. He's so crazy in the open field. I loved watching it. But they got the ball first on overtime, dude, and the Rams defense was just gas. It was. And the way they run the ball, Gibbs ran a bunch of the fourth, but they alternate drives. It'll be a Gibbs drive, Montgomery drive, keeping both dudes fresh. Montgomery came in there in overtime, dude, and they didn't look back. He pounded that rock right to the end zone. But the Rams still looked good, dude. Like they were down 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. They're down Puka now. Any other team would be scrambling.
Yeah,
They lost by 6 points.
Sean McVay does an amazing job of like scheming all of his dudes in. Tyler Johnson looked great. Just
he was phenomenal
off the street, and
he looked way better than Rashad Bateman has ever looked. And Rashad Bateman was a first-round pick from the same college. Like, it's insane how McVay can use any talent.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Kyle
Shanahan.
Shanahan. The game we're talking about next.
Who's next? Yep. Niners Monday night beat the Jets 32-19. No Christian McCaffrey, and it looks like he's going to be out week 2. Yeah. So if Jordan Mason's out there, snag him up. What a game that dude had. 28 carries for 147 and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. The Niners passing game wasn't there. Like, Brock Purdy, 19 for 29, 231.
It didn't need to be.
Yeah. Debo, 8 carries. And there's the thing. If Christian McCaffrey's out, Debo is essentially the backup running back now to Jordan Mason. 8 carries for 23 yards. He had a rushing touchdown. He had 9 targets, 5 for 54. Juwan Jennings had a nice game. I think it was an ease-in situation for Brandon Ayuk. He only had 2 catches for 28 yards. I wouldn't be worried about that.
He dropped a couple of passes. I'm not concerned at all because Ayuk's, I think, an elite receiver. But it showed that he did not do camp. Like, he dropped a couple of easy passes.
Yep, and George Kittle, 4 catches for 40 yards. So, Jake Moody. If you want some kicker stuff, 6 field goals. What a superstar that guy was, considering Niners fan hated him. He had terrible preseason, and here he is. Aaron Rodgers, 13 for 21, 167, 1 touchdown and interception. Tyrod Taylor got some playing time as well. He threw a touchdown. Breece Hall, 16 for 54. He had a rushing touchdown. He also fumbled.
Yeah.
5 catches, though, for 39 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Allen Lazard. Aaron Rodgers shows up, and now Allen Lazard, he's back to relevant. 6 catches for 89 and 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson had 11 targets, 6 catches for 60. And Mike Williams had no targets. Yeah.
Everyone was like, Mike Williams is going to be the number 2. Not with Rodgers in town, baby. We still got Allen Lazard on this team, and that's his best fucking friend, dog.
Yep, and then our big sleeper dude, Tyler Conklin at tight end, 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards. So
not used.
Yeah. The Jets offense still not looking great, so we'll see how that works out for them. But
it showed flashes of what it can be. Garrett Wilson needs to not wear those stupid fucking. He's wearing like quarterback sleeves, like his pad sleeves. They're not tucked in, and he looks horrendously dumb, dude. Like, you're a receiver, go out there and look good. But Garrett Wilson, he had 6 catches for 80 yards, 60 yards, 60 for 60 yards.
Yeah, and he had 11 targets, so he was heavily targeted. Dude. That's what he does. He gets
always
targets. Allen Lazard, though, I would throw away some waiver money at him. Yeah, I'd pick him up. Aaron Rodgers loves that guy, and I think he's sealed up the number 2 spot. Maybe that fades off once Mike Williams is a little more healthy. We'll see, but the big concern, though, is Christian McCaffrey likely missing week 2, so Jordan Mason, again, should be effective. We'll see, though. Minnesota did a great job shutting down the Giants' offense, so we'll see how they work against the 49ers. All right, this one's, I said rapid fire. It's slow burn, baby.
It's our first time going through games. We got to figure out everything. It's a little long today, you know.
Yep. And then Thursday preview.
Shit out. Yeah, Thursday
Buffalo,
preview.
Miami.
Great
You're
game.
Obviously starting your guys.
Great game.
You're starting Josh Allen. You're starting Tua, probably, if you have him. You're starting Tyreek. You're starting Jalen Waddle. Keep an eye on the running backs. There's the thing with Miami. Watch Achane, Mostert, both on the injury list. If they don't play, you're likely seeing Jaden Wright and
Jeff Wilson will probably be out there. Even if one of them doesn't play, I would assume Jeff Wilson would get the rock with whatever one plays. But you also have to watch Kincaid. Like, you're gonna have to start Kincaid. You drafted him to start.
You drafted him to start. Yep.
But just be wary of those 2 targets. Keon Coleman, if you have him and you have to start him in your flex, I would shoot the shot with it. He led the team in targets, led the team in snap percentage. Josh Allen seems to love the dude. They have a good chemistry, so it's only going to grow.
I think Khalil Shakir is the only other receiver from that pass catching room where James
Samuel
Cook start him.
100%.
James Cook's a superstar. Hopefully one day he does get a rushing touchdown.
Maybe one day he'll score a touchdown. Maybe. But Tyreek start, Waddle start, Tua. If you have a better quarterback, you have some type of leeway there. He's not a for sure start.
If you did the Jaden Daniels paired with a pocket guy
Daniels.
like Tua, start Daniels. He's playing the Giants.
Yep.
Or if you did, like, I have Tua and Goff in a league, a 12-team league. I ended up with both of them as my quarterback. I'm playing Jared Goff. But chances are, like,
they got the
there's a good
Bucs
chance
at home.
if you drafted Tua, there's a decent chance he's your better quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying not start Tua.
This should be a high-scoring game.
Theoretically.
Should be. We'll see how it goes. Thursday games can be a little weird. So we'll see how it goes.
Buffalo's defense is not Buffalo's defense of prior. So Miami should be able to go out there and score points. Who you picking?
Buffalo.
Miami.
Okay, there we go. High scoring game though. I think it's going to be like 30-28.
I think it's gonna. I'll go a little bit higher. I'll go 38-33 Dolphins.
Let's see what the spread is for that game. Usually I have that stuff and I forgot to write it down because I was more focused on doing the
I mean, you would think Sleeper would tell me, but they don't.
Yeah.
So
over under 49.
Sounds about right.
And
I'll take the over.
Cool. Now the thing's behind a paywall, so I couldn't see the rest of it.
This guy.
Cool, guys. Cool. CBS Sports making me pay to use.
Go to the ESPN app, my guy.
I can't. I'm using my phone to record.
Oh my god. ESPN has the over under 48.5.
Miami favored by 2. Miami -2 favored, 49 over under. So Vegas thinks it's going to be a big high scoring game. I agree. Start your Bills, start your Dolphins.
Start them all.
Yep. Well, not all of them. Don't start Curtis Samuel. I wouldn't start Curtis Samuel.
Well, it's fucking not that guy.
But
the guys we said.
There we go. Drafted Up podcast. We're in the books. Hour and a half. Really long.
Yeah, it's a long one. Deal with it.
Yeah. Yep.
Freaking.
Right. We'll see you guys Thursday where we do the rest of the games. Go through and do our pick 'em and all that stuff, and we'll debut our starts of the week.
Dude, football's back, baby. Football's back, baby.
All right, guys. Twitter @DraftedUpPod, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Drafted Up Podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. Tell everyone.
Tell a friend.
Every person. Maybe one time we'll actually go to an Eagles game and hand out those business cards.
Go Birds.
Yeah. No. That's it. Podcast over. Adios, guys. Thanks as always.
Bye.